Greetings, comrades, and welcome to the Eastern Border. This is the first actual news episode about what's happening in Ukraine. It's coming out unedited because I have no time to send it to unedited at this point. Tomorrow we're going to have a proper discussion with experts and everything, and we're going to have that properly edited. For our patrons, do not worry, this episode comes completely free of charge. We're not charging for it to anyone, but there's a lot to talk about. I'll leave the emotional stuff to the end, but right now let's just get down to the facts. For one, there have been numerous reports from various countries and, about what's going on there and how many have fallen. What we do know is that Russia has conquered very small parts of Ukraine, because Ukraine is larger than France, remember that, and they have faced success only in small bordering territories. They've had some success. However, Ukraine has managed to put up a much larger resistance than the Russians had hoped for. Now, Kiev itself, the capital, is under attack, which is sad, but it is quite close to the Russian border. I do believe that when Kiev falls, and it will fall only after every man capable of holding a gun will fall with them, because I know Ukrainians. But sadly, I also believe that Russians have superior numbers, but oh my god, the Ukrainians will die for Kiev, literally. But the important part here is the fact that, the amount of pure casualties is suddenly increasing. In Russia, they have decided to basically claim that there have been no casualties. They just don't report the numbers at all. They're hiding it from the public. And that's important because they are also, at the same time, forcing their conscripted troops to become, enlisted men, to join with a contract. And those who refuse are beaten. This report comes from the Mothers of Soldiers Association. So, not only Russia is attacking illegally, they're also forcing their people in. And we've seen the pictures right now at this point, because those people who have taken as prisoners of war, they are quite young, and most likely a lot of them weren't even told where they were going. This also comes from another report from the Russian side, which states that quite a lot of military personnel, when they were transferred, thought they were going for an exercise, and a lot of them were not even told that any such thing like this one would be happening. And there have been fights. The Russians almost captured an airport, then the Ukrainians beat them back. But right now, the Russians are advancing towards Kiev through Chernobyl. And yes, it's that Chernobyl. It's near the Belarusian-Ukrainian border in the direction of Kiev. And over there, the fights have been hard, and we have reports. I don't know exactly how truthful they were, but we have reports that the shield, the big shield that protects us all from radiation, has been breached, and at least that the waste disposal facility had been breached. I had seen reports from Germans and from other countries that the radiation level is constantly increasing around those parts. So if that is true, and it just as well might be, because not like anyone cared about going through Pripyat and all that area with any caution. If that is true, then yeah, that region is gonna be a hellhole for even more years. The report that I read, that I posted on Twitter, which is what you should follow me, because, like I mentioned in the episode 0, I'm banned from Facebook because of Russian trolls. Well, there's other reports that the amount of radiation has gone up from 3,500 nanosieverts to 65,000 nanosieverts. I don't know how much these numbers actually mean, or how large they are. I just know that sieverts are used to measure radiation, and that this is bad. But yeah, we've seen an increase, which means that something is damaged and something has been going on there. What else happened is that Kiev has been under airstrikes. These airstrikes have been terrible, and, the people there are staying in metro stations as bomb shelters. They're all suffering through this and trying to just show all the realities. What also happened is that is that in Ukraine, well, people have been given guns and told to defend themselves in case something happens, and paramilitary operations have already started forming. Gun stores in Kharkov and Lvov have been bought dry from everything they had inside there. People truly want to die for this country and push through and endure. They truly show the resilience, remarkable resilience, and it's amazing. Meanwhile, in the EU front, Italy and Germany refuse to accept SWIFT being cut off from Russia, which is the banking messaging system, which would make sure that Russia cannot, do any international transactions whatsoever. A lot of people, on Twitter that I've seen support this action. However, I have spotted some trolls, which are very active right now. So if you see a shoddy account, just block them and report them as well. But Italy and Germany, the two countries that are highly dependent on Russia's oil, sadly don't want to cut off this deal. However, I think that we can get all this stuff from Africa. We can get our gas and oil from there, and we'll manage. I hope that if you live in one of those countries, you will message one of your representatives soon enough so that something changes in this matter. Ramzan Kadyrov, meanwhile, the ruler of Chechnya, if you haven't heard of him, he's the autonomous ruler of Chechnya who took over after the Chechen wars, and he's been a complete dictator. He's imposing his own taxes, has his own private army. He puts fellow Muslims like him, who also don't accept his policies, in prison, and kidnaps and shoots people, including a wife of a federal judge whose decision he didn't like and got away with it scot-free, because that's how influence Ramzan Kadyrov has. Did I mention the concentration camps for gay people as well? Yeah, he has those too. And he met today, apparently, with the leader of Pakistan, and with a friendly greeting between two Muslim countries. And that puts a lot of shame on Pakistan. If I would be Pakistani, I would never meet with a monster and a terrible person such as Ramzan Kadyrov. And if you're a Muslim person listening to this as well, then make sure that your community condemns Ramzan Kadyrov and everything he does. He also stated that his troops, Chechnyan troops, would be the first ones to kind of occupy the hardest regions in Ukraine. But knowing what Chechens have done and all what Kadyrov has done, this means that war crimes are going to happen. What also is known is that Russia already has a list of people who will be sent to concentration camps and or shot dead when Russia manages to succeed in this war. This is already sad and terrible, but the fact that Kadyrovцы are going there, that's, I presume, the worst part. But Ukrainians are fighting back, and things are going on somewhat nice. There have been many protests in various areas as well. Latvia protested, and Poland protested, and everyone protested, and it was pretty hard. But I don't know how effective anything will be. One thing that I heard from the commentators, specifically in Russia, is that, well, a lot of Russian people have been speaking against this violence, and I want to kind of focus on the fact that Putin is not Russia. To sit on the negotiations table with Putin doesn't mean to sit on the same table with Russia, because Putin is basically a crook that's holding Russia as a hostage. And right now we've seen also massive protests in St. Petersburg and Moscow. 1,740 people have been arrested in Russia for participating in these protests, not because of the war, but because, COVID restrictions. And the thing is, it's hard to go out and protest in Russia. It's, after all, a country where even for Facebook posts and likes and doing simple things like that, you can get arrested and you can get sent to prison. And a lot of people there came out and spoke against all this crime and all this nonsense. And that's a heroic act of them. And of course, it is in no relation to Ukraine's suffering, but the fact that these people came out and helped and endured everything, and that they went out despite knowing that they would be arrested, that's a major act of selflessness, which I completely approve of. And finally, after all these news about the reports and the war, because I'm following them all the time, and like I said, please follow me on Twitter at Eastern_border, because that's what I post all the news as I see them, and this is going to be daily with the most important updates on it. Please follow me there, and if you want to support Ukraine, then that is SOS Army Ukraine charity, which I endorse because they're a good charity. If you want to support the show, then please, we have PayPal. Just go to our homepage, theeasternborder.lv, and press the donate button. Your money will be used to bribe people so that we can get into Ukraine, and all the remaining money will be just given to the refugees. We will do charity work there. And yeah, but the most important part is an event that happened on something called the Snake Island. That's an island not far from the Ukrainian coast on the southwestern part of the nation, kind of next to Romania. And apparently, in the Black Fleet, there were operations of Russian Navy. By the way, if you've heard about the Odessa, then the Marines there, as far as I know, are a hoax, since there was a warship in Odessa and left afterwards. However, we know for certain that there was a Russian warship, because we heard the leaks, that decided to take over this island as they were ordered. And the Russian warship said through radio, through these people who were standing there, and the 13 border guards there, and they sent a message, quote, "This is a Russian warship. Surrender now, lay down your arms, so that there would be no casualties." And those 13 people on this Snake Island, they must have looked to each other and decided to act at that moment, because their answer is something that will go in the history books. They stated, "Fuck yourself, Russian warship." Or in Russian, "Русский корабль, иди нахуй." And that's something that's very brave. They all perished because the Russian warship did open fire. Now, some of you might say that this was reckless and they will save their own lives, but in a way, over here in these parts, we think that something more important is at stake, and that sometimes your life needs to be given for something way more valuable and more important. And that's what these people did, and that's why they are heroes of the Snake Island. Please remember them. And to finalize this episode, to finally cut this all off, and I'm sorry for all this rushness, but again, these news episodes are going to be different than the normal ones, but the more proper one is coming tomorrow, with our intro music and everything. Right now, I'm just collecting all the news from the last day and trying to put them into words. What happened is that also Putin gathered his oligarchs, his clique of supporters around him, and basically stated that, guys, don't worry, it's cool. The sanctions, they'll pass, we'll manage. I'll just give you some money. Which shows that he's worried. He's worried about the sanctions because Russian economy, Russian markets have been dropping insanely. Russian stock market lost 80% of its value. Ruble's been dropping as a lot as well. Russian economy is going to hell because well, they are 70% reliant on imported goods. Aeroflot no longer flies any Russian engines on their planes anyway, so they can't get spare parts. They can't get any spare parts, and their economy is collapsing. They're in deep trouble themselves. This is why they started this war, and we're hurting them, and that feels nice. This is the time when hurting Russia is good. I feel very sorry about the Russian people, though, because I have a lot of Russian friends here who are confused and sorry and worried. But Putin, who's been holding Russia hostage for so many years, yeah, he just basically told the oligarchs and everyone rich around them, even though he's the richest of them all, by the way, that it's going to be fine. No, don't worry. We're going to win super fast. But the Blitzkrieg is failing. And the person that I listened to the most about all these news, Igor Girkin, the previous leader of the separatist forces, it's hard for me to read his stuff because he's praising Russia for a military operation. But even he admits that the Russian people were going to live very poorly from now on, at least for a while. The Russian people are going to pay for all of this. And they're also victims if you look at it that way. Someone needs to stop this whole mess, and someone needs to end this whole situation. What's going on is terrible. And, well, we're going to follow the news, and we're going to go to the front lines ourselves, and we'll try our best. If you want more concrete, like tiny updates about the current events, then really go to Twitter. Also, what happened was that tanks are on their way to Kiev. If you check on the map, then that's not very far, and Ukrainians had to blow off a bridge. Anonymous, by the way, have taken over the Russia Today, the RT site. That's down. At least it was yesterday, very late at night. Kremlin.ru, the official Russian government site, is also down. And Anonymous have declared, the hacker group have declared their own cyber war against Russia. And whatever your opinions on them may be, I have to say that at this point, they're a force for good. I truly hope that all this brings us all together, closer, and that we endure through all of this. Slava Ukraini. Happiness is mandatory. And if you listen to the show, please share it to others, and stay safe, my friends. Because I know I will. And I'll be giving you another digest of what happened today, tomorrow. Even though we have a longer, actually properly edited episode tomorrow, not just a news digest.